Facebook page to go out there and check us out. As we do every week, we open up with a featured artist. That featured artist this week is Ed Dolo. So as we get set, man, for me to bring in, I got a great interview today, but as we get set to bring them in, let's listen to Ed Dolo. This is No Hook. We do the music for everybody. You know, music and sports go hand in hand. And so, everybody who plays sports need a little music to get them crunk. So we just try to show a little love. This Ed Dolo is No Hook.
I ain't fucking with no Bronco. Hell no, bro, I can't go. And my child go out though. I'm just cool to get high though. Slinging balls out the front though. My bitch got gun it. Like, damn, bet you done it. Niggas looking for my gun it. I roll by 100. Knock you, bitch, you won't come back. Jump though like a thug tag. I'm really about this shit. You niggas capping though. Yeah, you got a gun, but I'm really jacking though. Yeah, I'm fat as fuck, but I keep the baddest hoe. Living laughing on some trash shit. No future nurse and shit. She went to Jackson. I'ma break her for a tax. James boys wanna ride me. Don't need to find them. I'm just kidding, they laughing. I'm just flying on the million. I'ma make the niggas scared of me. Real niggas gon' feel it. My little bitch and her feeling. I'm with my new hoe. She steady popping her chain. Pop me the engine, I'm tripping. Double my styrofoam, bitch, you know what I'm saying. My little nigga, I'm crippin'. I ain't got no love for no thot bitch. That shit the over with. I fell in love with a hoe before I met, bitch. I went for the
Shout out to the guy Ed Dolo. But like I said, man, special interview today. Got some guys in here with me. What I call, because I don't know if we have another one, but I say Little Rock's #1 underground sports podcast. Man, I got the guys of A Breath of Fresh Sports in here with me, man. I appreciate y'all. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Appreciate the love.
Appreciate you for this
Support.
support.
Yes, sir.
Man, now what I want to do, man, and like I always do, I bring people, if we got the platform, and what I try to do is, we've been blessed to have a medium to where we can reach hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
And anytime that I see someone making strides in anything, whether it's business, whether it's sports or whatnot, I take it and make it my duty to present those people to the world,
right,
or whatever world that we have, or what we can provide, man. And I think I've been looking at y'all. I think what y'all do is dope. It's what it should be. It looks the part. It sound the part. Y'all know y'all stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted to bring y'all here, man. Those it's A Breath of Fresh Sports. Now everybody watching me on the Real Underground Facebook Sports Group page, if you go over to the Real Underground radio station page, man, you'll be able to see both of these cats on the camera, and as well as myself on the camera from time to time at the same time. So go over there and check us out. Shout out to my guy, Coach Jones. But if you can, Courtney, let us know, and y'all can go back and forth. How did this come about, and what is A Breath of Fresh Sports?
All right. Well, we've been pondering on this idea for a minute. And it's crazy how it finally came about, because I had been thinking about it, like I said, for a while, and then I had got to a point where, like, man, I think I'm finna go ahead and start. And I hit LaRon up, and he said the same thing. He was like, man, I think we should start a sports podcast. And I was like, man, I was just thinking about this. So, you know what I'm saying? And we got together and brainstormed about a name and everything. And yeah, we came up with Breath of Fresh Sports because we know sports, we love sports. You know, we get together and watch football every Sunday, and it was like a breath of fresh air. But it's like we know how sports was a breath of fresh sports. You know,
I get it.
You know, man, it was really good. We came together, and both of us was thinking about it like our minds was right in sync.
Right.
When both of us young, no sports. You know, we been doing it for a long time. So why not make it almost like a living? You know?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you come about podcasts? How does that even come about?
Well, I had the idea to do just a regular podcast without the video footage, but I went ahead and I just wanted to do it with the video and post everything on YouTube. Started YouTube and everything like that, and get it out like that on video. So we just decided to do it that way on YouTube, and we eventually gonna get on the podcast apps, all the podcasts, be able to get on Spotify and all that. Well, we hadn't got to that point yet, but we'll get there.
What type of content do you like
like we always talk about We talk about every week, you know, the team that's playing each other. You know, we give information. You know, players that's injured. You know, we give our insight.
Okay, so it up to game.
We do our weekly picks, and we play fantasy football. Number one, we big on fantasy football. Like, I mean, if you ask me, I wanted to move forward with the podcast being straight fantasy football, but you know, being the sports overall, it'll be, you know, a little bigger. But I love fantasy football, so you will see a lot of fantasy football talk on there as well. We have our fantasy football league, our family league, the Eric B Fantasy League, and you know, right now we're in the playoffs. Right now, I barely made the playoffs.
I was about to say, anybody winning?
Stick my foot through the back door to get in.
We snuck in there this year. I'm the 8th seed, the 7th seed. And in the show league, I started the show league, the Fresh Sports Fantasy League. It's on the Sleeper app, and in the show league, I'm the number 1 seed, so I'm kind of dominating over there. You know,
right. I get now. Where can people catch a breath of Fresh Sports?
You know, where we have it. You know, you can podcast. You know, you can catch it on. You know, put it on YouTube. You know, you can check it out on Facebook. You know, Breath of Fresh Sports. You know,
just at the Breath of Fresh Sports on all platforms.
On YouTube and Facebook. A Breath of Fresh Sports.
Well, that's cool. And now, that's just you two guys, or is there anybody else involved in it?
It's me, LaRon, and Eric Baker. He couldn't be here today, but yeah, it's us three.
Now what? And I know we're just talking, but where do you see yourself going with it? Is it just us just doing like? Now you know what I've seen, and this is one of the things that caught my attention with you guys. That not only are you just talking sports, but you guys are actually traveling. You guys are actually seeing venues. You guys are actually getting to mix and mingle with former players, with current players, with that sort of deal. Is that just something that you did anyway, or was that to enhance the podcast or whatnot? Because that caught my attention, and I like that.
Well, it started out as something we was gonna do anyway. And then we came up with the idea to do this podcast, so it was like hand in hand. You know, we had to go. We got to make sure we go every year from now on. But that's something that they started. I think either last year or year before. So actually started out as a national fantasy football convention, but now it's just a sports con, just a sports convention overall. They have boxers, they have baseball players, ex-baseball players, NFL players, NBA players, all type of players, and sports guys and analysts. People from ESPN, and you know they're all there, and it'll be every year in July in Dallas.
But you know what was crazy? Like we was talking to people down there, we was letting people know about the podcast. They was like, "Man, you got cards," and like,
we was
gonna have some next year.
We was like really fresh, you know.
Now I was gonna also ask too, how that now when is it? Because I found it a little different when I started doing this in front of people and people could say something to me. What's the difference now in the way you view or your opinion on sports now that you have a podcast? So people are saying, so has it changed how you think?
It really hasn't changed because my knowledge of sports is my knowledge of sports. You know, it don't change. I'm not trying to do it. It just come naturally.
You know? Go ahead.
I always say, I've been knowing sports since I was like 7 years old, and I always wanted to be like a journalist. So it's just one of them natural things. You know, something you love. You know, just come passionately, easily.
And I'm gonna speak on LaRon. With LaRon, man, we all like we'll get together, the family get together, and we'll be talking about stats or whatever. And we may have a question about what happened in 1995 and who did this and that. Hey LaRon, who was the quarterback? And he just come right off the top of the dome. You know what I'm saying? Like he always been that way. You know what I'm saying? And but like you said, I've always been big on sports. And yeah, man, this is just something, what I see for us. I mean, right now, this is just something that we love to do. You know, I feel like if you're doing something that you love, you really not working. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, I mean, if it goes to a very high level, hey, I'm all for it. But if I'm here for the slow grind and everything, you know, it really don't matter to me. But yeah, I want to take this to a big level because this is what I want to do.
Yeah, we go get the, like, I've been wanting to do this for years, so it's coming, you know, and everything's gonna keep going though. It's a grind, but we loving the grind.
Yeah, hopefully by 2021 sports convention or 2022 sports convention, we'll be stationed at the sports convention, hopefully.
Okay, we're setting up the podcast.
Right.
Now, and going to those conventions, because it was a couple of situations where I got to go to, and like you said, the card deal.
Yeah.
How has going to those conventions and people asking you certain questions, how has that bettered your podcast?
I feel like it's made it better because now we got a name, we got a name that people can latch on to, that they can actually see the product, you know. And I think it's good because everybody loves, well, I'm not gonna say everybody loves sports, but most of the world loves sports, and it's so many ways, so many avenues to bring it out. And I think that the more we keep putting out there, the more product people get to see and get to love more. So we go get the card, we get everything going, you know what I'm saying? And we go do it. I believe in us 2,000%.
I do too, man. Because just from watching, and then because name is real big, and the name, I'm with the Real Underground Sports, but that's you know, a spin off of the radio station, so that was easy. But in you guys picking that name was a great pick because someone was asking me like, well, who are you interviewing today? I said, well, I got the guys off this podcast. I really like what they're doing. And she asked me what's the name, and I said, A Breath of Fresh Sports.
Right.
And in her hearing that, what she got out of it, she was like, okay, so she's thinking that maybe that now she's going to hear like a different take on sports. It's not the same lit barbershop like just argument with no facts, no history, no nothing to talk about, and she really enjoyed it. So she was thinking, okay, well, maybe I can get sports from a different perspective. Maybe they can talk about some things that we don't know. These guys know injury. And being that you guys do the fantasy updates and the fantasy league stuff, all of that is real big. And that's what one of the things that brought me there. And ever since now, I will say, let me come back and say this, is that Courtney is probably, without like being here directly, one of the like, you're a foundation to Real Underground Sports. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing, or the content, or just keeping the buzz going, you were doing that.
Right.
And when you guys spent off and started doing Breath of Fresh Sports, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get him there because and to pay homage for one, plus to show people, hey, what they're doing is legit, man. It is a breath of fresh sports. It's a breath of fresh air. Go watch that. But you were a staple in this. So I know you guys know your stuff, and that was cool to me. That's a different spin. I'm sports topics, you know, not nothing broken down or any of that stuff. So let me reach out to them, get them in here, and then we can get to talking some sports, and then somebody can put me in a place with some stats and all that, because everybody know, you know, especially once we get to talking about basketball, and everybody who check me out or who support me in any kind of way, I already know what's gonna come out of my mouth. So, and I'm quite sure you do too. So I said, let me get these guys in here, man, and they can give me a different perspective. Now, you told me something off air that is a plus to me, because I was going to ask that, but you know, in starting to do this, I know there's certain things that people like to get prepared for their show or their platform. And then when you told me that we can do picks on the NFL picks, I'm like, hey man, I'm really with that. So but let's jump into, because some of the people like, hey man, we know what they're about. This is Breath of Fresh Sports. Let's see what they talking about. Let's see what they know. So to the world, man, we're gonna preview their Sunday picks. First of all, they've been doing these Sunday picks since the season started. Out of you two guys, who has the better record of these picks?
Well, as of right now, your boy Eric. Eric is number one. His record is 124, 66, and 1.
Say what?
124, 66, and 1.
Eric need to go. You take Eric to Vegas with you.
You know, I'm at number 2 right now. I'm gonna have to recalculate some things because I think I'm a little off, but I'm 118, 70, and 1. But as of right now, I'm gonna have to recalculate that. And then the run is 104, 84, and 1.
Okay.
So we're all over 100.
But he 20 picks over favor. If we doing it like that, he 20 picks over 500. So it ain't too bad. You're in third place. But okay, so I just let you guys take it from here and go down on these picks, and we'll just sit back and watch and see what happens.
Already, well, we can start from the top. With the first game we got is the Panthers at the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3.5 points in this game, and they're at home. So who you got?
Man, I'm gonna roll with the Falcons, roll with the Dirty Birds. I think Matt Ryan's gonna play a little better, and I think Devontae Freeman is finally healthy.
Yeah.
That's gonna help big. And
Go
I don't know, Cal Allen. I just don't. I think he's starting to hit that wall.
Yeah.
He's starting to see the real Cal
Starting
Allen.
to throw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah. The turnovers.
I'm gonna pick the Falcons as well because of getting Matt Ryan hasn't been playing well in the previous weeks.
Yeah.
But with him getting his weapons back, I think Austin Hooper is back. I think Julio Jones is gonna play. He would have played last week if they would have played on Sunday, but they played Thursday, so he sat out that game. And now with him getting some rest in that game and getting a little healthier, him coming back, and the Panthers are terrible against the run. They like one of the worst teams against the run.
Yeah,
So what you said about Devontae Freeman, if you play fantasy football, I know Devontae Freeman been a bust this year, but he should be really good this week playing against the
So I
Panthers.
hope Eric ain't listening right now. He got Devontae Freeman. I don't need him to start him this week.
Man, a lot of that. Okay, before we go on, just since we're picking this game, what happened to Matt Ryan and Julio Jones? Like what went on with that?
Man, their offensive line is bad. They have a bad offensive line, and the running game hasn't been good this year. And especially with the quarterback. If you're gonna have success at quarterback, it's good to have a running game to go for you. To take the players out, take the defenders out of the box.
Right.
If people can just load up, and just dare you to pass the ball, and your weapons ain't getting it done. And then they lost Mohamed Sanu in that trade. Nobody else really stepped up. Austin Hooper got hurt, and Julio was the last man standing.
Right.
You have a young receiver out here at Calvin Ridley. But he's his second year, sophomore year, and he's okay, but he didn't really step
They
up.
like the speed.
Yeah.
I thought that he was on last year. I thought he was on the rise like that.
Yeah.
And then they just dropped off. But so both of y'all got the Falcons in that game.
I'm gonna say, the Falcons as a whole, Dan Quinn ain't been looking good.
Coaches.
Dirk Cutter ain't been looking
The
good.
defense.
The defense, it just nobody give anybody no help.
Yeah.
You got a lack of run game, lack of defense, and Matt Ryan not doing. It's like, where's the bright spot coming in?
Yeah.
When can you look at it and hang your hat on?
I feel like even if Matt Ryan was having a great, because you can have quarterbacks or your offense having a great season, but if your defense is terrible, or if your offensive line is terrible, and they're not blocking for you, and they're not blocking for your running backs,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? The end of football is a very, very team-oriented game.
Right.
It ain't NBA where you can have a LeBron or a major superstar, you know what I'm saying, or maybe two superstars, and they can pick up the rest of the team. NFL ain't like that.
Ain't
So.
like that. Okay, well now, before we go to the next pick, shout out to everybody that's checking us out. Whitney Malone, my homegirl. We got Archie. What up, Dennis, and my guy Adrian Hagens, man. He a Cowboy fan, so
Yeah, I am too.
know he don't want.
I am too.
Lord, so neither one of y'all. I'm glad we don't have to pick. No,
Man.
they play Sunday. They play tomorrow.
No, they play Thursday.
Yeah,
They play
They
Thursday.
play Thursday.
Yeah.
So okay,
But
we
see,
go. Let's.
Can I talk about them real
we
quick?
can do it. We can
Man,
do
look, if you, it was about 2 episodes ago when we talked about I had talked about the Eagles and the Cowboys, their competition, trying to take the division, the NFC East, and I was just looking at the schedule. I was looking at Dallas' schedule, and I was looking at Philly's schedule. And Philly, I saw that Philly still had the Giants and the Redskins and the Dolphins on their schedule. And
Right.
I'm like, they have an easy schedule.
Right.
And then I'm looking at the Cowboys schedule. And I'm like, man, we got to play at the time, we had to play the Patriots, we had to play the Rams, we got to play the Bears and on the road. And I'm like, man, Philly going to take this division. I'm a Cowboys fan, but when you're doing something like this, you can't be biased. You know what I'm saying? You can't just pick your team because it's your team. You just got to say what's real. And I felt like Philly had the schedule, and they you know what I'm saying, I feel like they had enough players to be able to win those games and take the NFC East. But they went and lost to the Dolphins. I'm like,
Right.
Football, you can't count nobody out.
Right.
Nobody. You gotta play the game.
Right.
so yeah, man, I don't know what's gonna happen now. I mean, Philly should beat the Giants Monday, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Eli might-
Now, okay.
Eli might
Now
go in that game.
for the if Philly were to beat the Giants,
It'll be a tie.
they would be tied
We'll
for
be
first
tied,
place
but
in the
Dallas will be ahead because we beat Philly.
the tiebreak. Okay, so Dallas would really need to
Just
beat Philly is basically what they need to do.
yeah, we
They
control our
got
own
to do
destiny.
their job.
Well, each team control their own destiny
Right.
because we still got to play each other again.
Right.
So that game is gonna be major.
Then Dallas beat Philly. Now I apologize if there were anybody who's supporting the Breath of Fresh Sports and you heard me say, hey, go check us out on the Real Underground radio station page where you can see both of these guys. I did something that was a little bonehead. I ain't gonna tell you what I did, but we gonna go back over some stuff here in a minute in case y'all missed it.
Okay.
Because I kind of wasn't recording.
It's all good. It's all
Now,
good.
now you're on there, you live. So if you support these guys and you see them here, go to the Real Underground radio station page. And you can see them, you can leave your comment, you can ask questions, you can talk about the Cowboys, tell them that, hey man, y'all really just saw y'all better days the first couple weeks of the season, and we just gonna go from there. But who we got next? What next pick?
The next game we got the Colts going to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. The Bucks are favored at home by 3. Who you got?
I got the Bucks. Even though it's hard to trust Jameis Winston, but I'm gonna trust Jameis with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You know, they got the weapons, and they at home. They get a lot of pressure from Shaq Barrett and Dominican Sue.
They're one of the leaders in sacks, I think, on defense.
So, and they've been forcing a lot of turnover with their sacks lately.
Yeah.
So, and Jameis we trust.
And Jameis we trust, right? That is,
But all that,
man, that
but-
is a tough statement to make.
That's a very tough statement.
He'll throw for 300,
Yeah,
2
he'll
touchdowns. He also gonna throw some picks.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm gonna roll with the Bucks to win as well. I think it's gonna be a close game, but the Buccaneers defense been stepping up in these past 2 games, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you just they have, especially playing fantasy football, they've been scoring some fantasy points. But I know ain't nobody been starting them because they're the Buccaneers defense.
Right. So
But,
what about Jacoby Brissett? Is he not playing?
I'm not.
He's
He's playing.
missing a lot of weapons.
He's playing.
Not having T.Y. hurting him. He run out for the season. He got all these young receivers that haven't really stepped up.
And
they
then-
got Pierce Camelback.
Then Marlon Mack was hurt, but Marlon Mack, he should be back he will be back this Sunday. But it's like his first game back, and if you look at the history on when players come back in their first game,
Right.
sometimes they can be limited. So we
Right.
really don't know what we're gonna see from Marlon Mack. But maybe if the Colts were at home and if T.Y. Hilton was, at least 80%,
Yeah.
I would roll with the Colts. But T.Y. Hilton, he's not gonna play.
I don't think he's gonna play no more the rest
Yeah,
of the year.
yeah, I think he's gonna sit out. They probably gonna put him on injured reserve, and he just really don't have his weapons. It's really not his fault.
If they lose this week, they'll basically be out of playoff contention, which it makes it even harder to want to play your star receiver when you're not playing for nothing.
Right.
Well, but they are. You said if they lose this week, so
They
then
playing for
he
something.
should be playing.
Yeah.
At least to keep the those
division.
playoff hopes alive, or
They fighting
however
with
you say that, or fighting for the division. Shout out Kenesha, Angela Campbell watching us, and she said I look like my brother because he just called me my brother. But what's going on? But now if you're playing for the division and you're going all out,
Yep.
and then what are the Buccaneers playing for?
Nothing.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
playing for their jobs.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be a lot of pink slips coming.
So you don't nobody think we don't want to retrade.
Jameis is most definitely playing for his job because in his option, his 5th-year option coming up, like we don't know if they're gonna.
Yeah, they've already said they non-committal with
You know
him.
what I'm saying? So it's like he playing for something.
Okay, so both teams got something to play for. I believe the Buccaneers is just the better team. I'm not sure what's going on with the Colts. I'm not sure what's going on with the coaching staff up there or how they handling a lot of situations. I've been hearing a lot about how they just handling situations. Like you losing a couple players, and I hadn't saw the adjustments to the subs. You know how okay, when Drew Brees went down and Teddy Bridgewater stepped up, they kind of mixed up that playbook and it fit what he was doing.
Yep.
So now when these guys going down, I haven't seen the coach able to find a game plan to kind of help, offset that.
Well, it was one game when the first game Marlon Mack was out. and they brought in Jonathan Williams from
Right.
he's a Hawk.
Right.
They brought in Jonathan Williams from Arkansas, and he had about 100 and
Oh yeah, when they played the Texans.
it was their Thursday night game.
Yeah.
You know, so they really, but like you said, you really haven't seen any adjustments. I don't think they made any adjustments in their game. You know, they just played Jonathan Williams as if he was Marlon Mack. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
and they were able to run the ball very well. Now, they lost that game, didn't they?
Yeah.
They lost that game, but yeah, they replaced Marlon Mack that game pretty well.
See, the coach, they like the fourth heaviest run
yeah.
offense. So they want to establish the run early.
That's what they want to do.
You know,
And that- go ahead. I think
Is that from because of lack of faith in Jacoby?
I think that's because they don't have their weapons.
No, okay, they don't have
Because
outside
you know
weapons.
they don't have their weapons. They don't have T.Y. Hill nor Eric Ebron, so they got to run the ball.
You got a lot of young receivers.
And it's
got
gonna
to
be
step up.
It's gonna be tough to run the ball this
Right.
week because the Bucks are pretty tough against the run.
I didn't. And, okay, so what is the offense that bad? Because I've heard both of y'all pretty much praise the Bucks defense for what they're doing and what they've been able to do this year. And Dominican Sue is over there. So what is the problem
With the Bucks?
Yeah, if most of the teams whose defense is strong, they're in the mix of something right now.
They haven't been consistently strong. They've been strong these past 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, the last
But-
couple weeks
but-
they've been strong.
You know, pretty much for
Right.
the whole entire season as a whole, they haven't been strong at all.
Oh.
But they just turned it around these past 2 weeks. Yeah.
I think they running game is so inconsistent.
Yeah.
You don't know what Ronald Jones Jr. is gonna do. You don't know what Peyton Barber's gonna do.
Yeah.
You know,
They need a running back.
they don't have running game. That just forces James to throw more.
Yep.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not sure if you got Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are like number 1 and number 2 in receiving.
That's what I'm dumbfounded. You know what I'm saying?
It's
What
because
is it?
Jameis he's turning the ball over. That's the
Okay.
problem. He's throwing all these like he said. Jameis will have a game with 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he might throw 4 picks. You know what I'm saying?
It's just
Or 3 picks in a fumble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was watching some. They said he could be the first quarterback in history to lead the NFL in pass touchdowns and lead the NFL in interceptions.
interception.
That's crazy.
All in the same. So yeah, that is a roller coaster of a
Yes.
quarterback. That's like what they used to say about Brett Favre, just personified. Like he's, you know how he's a gunslinger.
Gunslinger,
So
yeah.
you gonna hit or miss. And if you were to lead the league in touchdowns and interceptions, that would be weird to me. And I would, now that you say that, I kind of want to see that happen. You know, like just
You want to see history?
Yeah, I want to see history being made. Why not, Jameis Winston? So that we both got the Falcons,
And the
we
Bucks.
both got the Bucks. Who next?
Next game is the Dolphins going to New York to play the Jets. The Jets, okay, these lines are before the latest injury updates. So the Jets were favored by 5 at the time, but they just announced that Le'Veon Bell is out. He's not going to play. Jamal Adams, the safety, he's also out. So I don't know if they're going to change the line. I'm sure the line is going to change to probably be favored by 2 or a pick or
Right.
something like that. But I don't care if they were favored by 7. I was going to pick the Dolphins anyway. I was going to pick the Dolphins because I knew Jamal Adams was going to be out. Now, what I'm saying, I was going to pick him anyway, whether Le'Veon Bell played or not. I was going to pick the Dolphins anyway because I feel like the Dolphins, they don't have a running game at all. Their running backs suck. But Ryan, it's just something about Ryan Fitzpatrick when he starts the season on the bench and comes off the bench and takes the.
They
It's just
call
something.
it Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic, man. It's just, I don't know what it
He
is.
does better when the pressure off him.
Yeah, he's
Right.
not playing for nothing.
Right.
No pressure. Just go out there and just throw the ball, and that's all they can do is throw
Who
the
he
ball.
throwing it to?
Devontae Parker.
Man, he finally stepped
Man,
up.
did you see how he played? He looked, man. He looked
I guess.
just for one game now.
Oh, see,
For one game,
that's my thing,
Devontae Parker
right.
looked like Randy Moss out
I
there.
kind of gave up on. I gave up on him. You know, that's why I'm.
But
So he can take. Will he be able to take advantage of Jamal Adams not being there?
I think so. I think they're gonna go out there and get the job done. Now I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be pretty. There's gonna be some turnovers in that game. But I just think the Dolphins are gonna win. I don't think they're gonna have an answer for Devontae Parker.
See, like the Jets have number 1 rush defense, but they in the middle of the pack with passing. So what you do is they don't have. So by them not having a running game, Got to lean on the passing game.
And then
you know?
where Adams out to.
Yeah, and
Right.
I believe in Fitzpatrick one. I believe in Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has too many roller coaster games. But one game he's throwing for 350, next game he's throwing for 150.
Right.
You don't know what you're gonna get. You know them growing pains of being a second year pro.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
We got both of y'all. Our Dolphins on the road.
They on the road. I'm still.
So we're going with the Dolphins on the road.
I'm going with the Dolphins.
Ryan Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
Fitzmagic. Who we got next?
The next game is one of, if not the game of the week. 49ers going to New Orleans to play the Saints. Look at him. I forget you was a 49ers fan.
I was waiting on that.
The Saints favorite by 2 because they're at home.
Yeah.
Because normally when you're at home, they give you a field goal.
Yeah, give you that.
But they only favor by 2. So what they trying to say is
That's a sneaky line.
it's sneaky.
Only 2
Only
points.
2 points.
We give you a field goal.
Man, that might make me change things up a little bit.
I went back and forth with this one, man. I ain't gonna lie.
But go ahead. It all comes down to who do you trust more, Jimmy G or Drew Brees? Who do you trust more?
See, if you ask me that question like that, then you make me.
But see, with that question, I'm gonna say this: I trust more. I trust the 49ers defense more.
There you go.
You know, but even with that being said, I'm gonna roll with the Saints. Because when they at home, man, it's hard to go. It's going to New Orleans and playing that building. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be rocking. And I just think it's gonna be a very, very close game, very competitive. Now, don't get me wrong. If the 49ers win that game, I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
Like, because they have an amazing running game. It don't matter who their running back is. They got a great running game. And their defense is off the chain.
If the 49ers win this game, he would not be shocked. I don't really like this thing.
Why not?
Because that's what you mean. You wouldn't be shocked. The 49ers will win this game because they're just the better team. And they're going
You think so?
Drew Brees.
They have the better defense for sure.
He gonna see Mr. Bosa.
I put like they have the better
Whole lot of
defense
them.
for sure.
Yeah.
But they don't.
One thing I will say, the running game and defense travels.
Yeah.
No, they set up for this. So, but you got Michael Thomas and Kamara. That's the 2 great equalizers.
Who you gonna pick?
I'm picking the Saints.
Okay.
You picking the Saints?
Yeah, I'm picking the Saints.
You picking the Saints too, Courtney? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Saints, man. I'm gonna roll with the
So we both got
Ain't
the
a big
Saints.
easy.
Now we that right. We're at odds on that one. They both pick. That's the first thing that these guys from Breath of Fresh Sports said today that made them sound. I've been saying that they know their stuff and they know everything. That right there just made me have to reconsider.
Okay.
They both picked the side. At least thought we was gonna get a 50-50 on that one. Somebody gonna roll with me, but we will see. Now you guys got me where I really need to pay attention to this game. Cause y'all, that's what y'all saying. I want to see if okay, who has the Saints beat?
They beat hold on. Man, they beat the Cowboys.
Dang.
I'm trying to think of all the teams.
I said they beat.
That matters.
Man, you really haven't beat nobody that really matters.
That is my
good question.
That
Man,
was
the
exactly why I
Rams
asked
like
that question.
75. So
No, I don't know, man. But I just think they're gonna. I think they're gonna get it done. It's gonna be.
They
gonna
gotta
be
start
that-
somewhere.
Trust Sean Payton. Now I will say I gotta the 49ers is one of the surprises of the league this year. I'm gonna say that. Now I'm not gonna sit up here and act like we walked into this season like this our year, that sort of deal.
Yeah.
But before that, I got a soft spot for Drew Brees because my dream scenario this season was to see the Saints and the Patriots in the Super Bowl and Drew Brees beat Tom Brady. So then we would have to go down this road. Is he not right up there for the best quarterback ever? Because he would own all of the individual passing records.
Yeah.
And in this era where it was dominated by 2 guys basically,
would be
Drew Brees would be 2-0 in Super Bowls against those two, and then we have to go down that road. So that was my dream scenario. But once the Niners got on the road, now I'm like, yeah, we gonna go away from that, you know. So that was my thing. So I was confused about that for a minute. But y'all both got the Saints again.
Mm-hmm.
Both of y'all got the Saints. We sticking to it.
My X factor is Taysom Hill. That's my X factor in the game.
Yeah, he's sneaky. He's sneaky, man.
They move him all around, you know.
Yeah.
I can see him make some plays.
Okay. Well, we gonna see it. I'll be tuning in for that one. We gonna see what happened.
It's gonna be a close one. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great game.
Who up next?
The next game we got shouldn't take long with this one. Lions and the Vikings. What we do on our episodes when it's a game like this, we say 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Vikings.
come on.
Vikings.
1, 2, 3 Vikings.
We ain't gonna waste no time on that game.
Right. Some of them they shouldn't even. You know how they got the list of games? They shouldn't even put that on there. You should just be having a turn and like, oh, I didn't know they were playing today.
Yeah, the Vikings favored by 13 points. So that is
Where are they playing in Minnesota? Oh, okay.
One thing I will say, I ain't gonna put too much analysis on, but I will say it seems like a lot of times Kirk Cousins plays down to his competition.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
You know,
or is he just being Kirk Cousins?
Man,
Cause he go game. Cause sometimes, man, if he plays down to his competition, what happens when he plays against better competition? He just turn into himself.
he just look. I don't know what it is with him in primetime game, him and team, good team. He just, I don't know if the bright lights is too much for him to overcome. You know. But you know, I'm going back on when they play against down their level. Think about it; they was down 20-0 to the Broncos. Had to come back,
and the Broncos had Brandon Allen, another hog. Brandon Allen playing,
right?
And they was down 20-0 to them, but they came back and won.
Yeah,
but it's the fact that they started out that slow, like another repeat thing that I on our show. If you watch our show, I always say I do not believe in Kirk Cousins.
Right.
When it's time for Kirk Cousins to lead the team and get the job done and get them to the playoffs or get them a playoff win, he ain't gonna get it done.
Right.
He ain't gonna get it done. But we talking about the Lions here, so he gonna get it done against the Lions.
Kinfolk Kirk. Like who next on that?
All right, the next game, probably another easy one. The Broncos going to Houston to play the Texans. Texans.
The Broncos, they ready for next year. They ready to go fishing.
Yeah, I mean,
Y'all picking the Broncos?
No,
Texans.
Oh, I was mad to see how my eyes got big. Like, wait a minute, man. Come on, man.
Texans.
I was gonna be more upset at that than the 49ers because the Saints are pretty good, but I'm like, y'all gonna take the Broncos over Deshaun Watson.
I picked the Texans last week against the Patriots. Both LeBron and Eric picked the Patriots.
And what's my guy name, the receiver? Hopkins. Come on, man.
Nope.
He gonna go crazy on them boys.
Yeah. And then you know Von Miller, he nursing a bad injury, so they pass rush ain't the same. So you got no pass rush, and you starting Drew Lock.
Yeah, the only hope for the Broncos is the running game. Phillip Lindsay, he could have a decent game, but the Texans gonna get it done.
Yeah,
Sean Watson,
they on a mission.
Hopkins, Will Fuller, and
they're still in playoff contention.
They in the division right now.
Okay.
3 seed.
Yeah.
3 seed. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that it may have been going a little bad. I thought that for some reason I thought they were up and down.
They got like a 1-game lead over Tennessee right now. They play each other 2 times in the last 3 weeks of the season. So
it's a Tennessee. What's Tennessee's record?
Tennessee is 75.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that 8.
That boy Derek Henry being beasted.
Yeah. It's his time of the year. We'll get to them.
Okay. So we both got the Texans. That was a no-brainer pretty much. Who we got in the next game?
Next game should be a good game because of the defense. Got the Ravens going to Buffalo to play the Bills. Bills are 9-3.
Yeah.
9-3. Ravens are 10-2.
Yeah.
Who you got? They got the Ravens favorite. They got the Ravens favorite on the road by 6.
I'm gonna take the Ravens. I think their run game is just gonna get better. I think Mark Ingram gonna have a big game. I think Lamar Jackson will have a good game. And man, they defense been playing good lately. Their defense play good in cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
That ball gets slippery. Josh Allen, your feet slow down.
When did they start playing better though?
When
they got Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
When they got Marcus Peters in that trade from the Rams, that defense just made a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
So, but do y'all believe that that running game and all of that will work in this cold that they're going to face? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the run. That's what travels. The running game and defense, no matter what the weather is, that's what travels. Now, what it may hurt the passing game, but when you play the Ravens, you're not really worried.
It's cold. Holding on to the ball, them hits get the adding up. You know, come third quarter, man, it's cold. You keep getting these hitting. And now you ain't as fast as you was. I don't know, man. But you know what? Here's what I would say though. I watched the Bills on Thanksgiving. That's the only Bills game I watched all season. Watched them against Cowboys. And the Cowboys lost that game, and I'm sitting here like, man, somebody need to be in trouble over there in Dallas because though the Bills won that game, I saw absolutely nothing that told me that they're even worthy of home field advantage in the playoffs.
Well, they won't
and by
that.
Record, I know they won't, but you know because they're in the division with the Patriots. But
one game back though.
That's what I'm saying. And so even just by record, like you almost got a record that could get you. They're not that good at all.
Well, I'll say this. I believe that they are good. It just doesn't look pretty. When they played the Patriots, they almost beat the Patriots. They was
down.
I'm just saying though. I'm just saying. You know, we that's the measuring stick.
He had a concussion that game. They brought in Matt Barkley. They was right in that game.
Matt Barkley had to come in and play that game.
So the touchdown the Patriots had was on the block. So they offense gonna move the ball.
So who got the Bills? At home.
I mean, we talking good about the Bills. I'm still taking the Ravens. I'm gonna roll with Lamar Jackson.
I can't right now. I can't pick against Lamar Jackson right now. I mean, he's the MVP right now, man. He's playing great football, man, and he's making these guys look silly out there. Like, so yeah, I'm rolling with the Ravens. It's gonna be like you said in that cold weather. It may not be a blowout, but
it's gonna be a little slow game. But I'll take the Ravens.
They both got the Ravens. Just checking in, man. It's the Real Underground Sports on the Real Underground radio station app and the realunderground.com. We're also live via the Real Underground Facebook sports group page. Also live on the Real Underground radio station Facebook page. We're sitting here with the guys from Breath of Fresh Sports podcast, man. They're going over their weekly picks. They did that exclusively here. I appreciate them for that. And as you see, these guys know their stuff. We're getting a lot of insight. They're not just picking games just because we're picking games. Right. I think this team win. I know what they're doing. They both picked against my Niners, so everybody human. They have some slip ups, but we're gonna keep it pushing. Who we got next on there?
Next game is the Bengals going to Cleveland to play the Browns. The Browns are favored by 7.
Maybe we get a week of Baker Mayfield doing something right.
I don't know. Do you think so? I mean, I got them, but
I think it's gonna be a dominating win for the Browns. They really need this win.
They do.
Because Freddie Kitchens, his seat is hotter than fish grease right now.
Yeah.
So Odell not happy. You gotta finish the season. Even though make the playoffs, still gotta finish the season off with some dignity, with some pride.
Talking about trading it, man.
I don't like who? Odell
Beckham.
I don't believe that. I think that was some clickbait rumors.
All right.
I don't believe that, but I got the Browns. I mean, I know Andy Dalton back. They brought him back. What was crazy? They benched that man on his birthday.
What a birthday!
They benched Andy Dalton on his birthday.
That's terrible, man.
But they brought him back last week. You know what I'm saying? He had a good game.
Where's AJ Green?
He hadn't played this year. And one of our first episodes, we were talking about fantasy and our draft, and I said, man, AJ Green might go on IR. He hadn't went on IR.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I think one of the reasons why they haven't put AJ Green on injured reserve is when you put a player on injured reserve, after you do that, what you got to do? You got to sign another player, right? Yeah. So that's another game check.
Yeah.
And you have to pay AJ Green while he on injured reserve, and he even have to pay this next. So I think they just holding him out and not sign because they don't. I mean, they're playing for next year. They tanking. They want their draft pick. So they was like, look, we're not gonna put him on injured reserve, but he ain't gonna play. And we're going to continue to pay him, but we ain't finna bring nobody else in for an extra game check. So, the Bengals, man.
Oh, man. Wallace say San Francisco is overrated. Wallace don't we try to keep the show, you know, positive. Yeah, that we don't say that, man. But now you know what though, and in him saying that, since he said that, I said the same thing. I said we remind me of the Bears of last year. Got all that defense and offense and suspect.
You know what? That's a good comparison because Jimmy G and Mitch Trubisky, they remind me a lot of each other, especially. But
I'll take Jimmy G.
Jimmy G, he turned the ball over more than Trubisky does. I would say that he puts his team more in harm. You know, you got a great defense, you got a great run game. All you got to do is just do it. You got a great tight end with George Kittle.
Yeah.
Just hold on to the ball.
Yeah, don't turn the ball over.
No, don't make us lose. You might not make us win, but don't make us lose.
So
I don't know if they're overrated though.
No.
But
see, now overrated is just implying that we're hyping up a little more than we should. Not saying that they aren't as good as what their defense is, and that the defense isn't really that good. But I just don't think that the offense matched the defense enough to call them that. And that's my I still get scared when I watch them play somebody with offense.
Let me ask this because you asked this about the Saints.
Yeah.
Who the 49ers beat this year?
See, man, that's what you see what I'm talking
So
about.
I mean, I'm just saying you asked about the Saints. So
You know what their record is?
They 10-2.
So they beat 10 NFL teams that everybody stepped in their way.
You know what the record?
The only
Saints
team,
record?
the only team that they lost to was Seattle. That was pretty much they lost to Seattle and Baltimore.
So they lost when they played good teams. They did what? They lost.
It was
I'm just saying though. They finna play a good team Sunday.
Okay, we'll leave it.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Dude, the 49ers, do you think they need home field advantage?
They need home field advantage. They need the referees to be from California. They need a little bit of all that. I that's just me. Okay. When the 49ers were 8-0, I tried to go back and find and I did this research one day. I was just sitting on some nerdish research. I wanted to find an 8-0 team that neither of the three primary skilled categories, receiving, passing, rushing, that you didn't have a player in at least the top 15. And I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a team like that. This is the first team that I've seen, and against both of those teams who can generate some offense to the end of the game. We might be because that defense is tough. We might be in a knockout drag for 3 quarters, but that can generate offense to the end of the game, come back to bite you because it's not consistent enough. We don't have really nothing to go to when it mattered most in that Seattle game. What did Seattle do to them? Let Russell Wilson just do what he did.
He was running around.
He did what he did.
He was
Same thing.
They beat Seattle.
No, Seattle won it overtime at Monday night.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just thinking about it because fantasy football, I lost it.
And when it mattered most in the Baltimore game, what did Baltimore do? You got a player that we can just go, man. Come on. And I said that the Niners don't have one of those players because, and then people were like, well, you know, we're team by committee, we're offense by committee. And that only gets you so far.
Yeah, that's true.
But we've seen when George Kittle don't go off, they offense struggle. He is the nucleus of their offense. He's the engine. They can talk about the Tevin Coleman and everything, but the main person is that opens everything up is George Kittle.
I believe y'all future bright though.
Yeah.
I believe y'all future bright. Y'all got a good coaching staff. Y'all got a good foundation. Y'all defense is great. Y'all got young players, and that boy Deebo Samuel. Y'all got something in him. I like him.
Everybody basically on rookie contracts. So.
Yeah, and that looks good because we're young. The defense is deep. The line, the defensive line go like about 6-7 players deep sometimes because they're always. I would look and think that some of the guys would be hurt, but they just run them in. They can run the defensive lineman in and not skip a beat.
One of the best things they did, they went in and got Richard Sherman. When you got a young team, you need that veteran leadership. You need that in the locker room.
That was also good for him too. I thought.
I like when they got Emmanuel Sanders too. I like that. I mean, it's a good
I'm
veteran.
gonna come back. We're gonna let's come. We're gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that. We just let me. So we are y'all picking Bengals over the Browns?
No, Browns.
Browns.
We both got Browns.
Next matchup, we got the Redskins going to Lambeau playing the Packers. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Packers.
There we go. I don't even know why we even had to go through that right there. And just say red, like, you know what? I got some family members, my mama, my brother, for some strange reason, something fell on both of their head and told them they like the Redskins.
Man, you want to hear something crazy? I said this on Facebook. This how bad the NFC East is. And Dallas is my team, but I got to be honest. This how bad the NFC East is. The hottest team in the division is the Redskins. There were 2 wins in a row. That's the hottest team in the division. They 3-9.
Right. Right.
That's
It's looking bad. It's looking bad if you lose 2 games in a row and then you're still in first place.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
And a
You lose,
solid
hold on.
500
What if I was going to say you lose 2 games in a row and got a losing record and you're still in first place?
Yeah, it's bad.
You may have, that could be the first time team get home field advantage with a losing record.
No,
Seattle
and
did.
they
Sure
won.
did.
They
They
beat the
won.
Saints. They
So
beat the
that's when
Saints.
Marshawn Lynch was
Beat
running all
Spike.
over everybody. But yeah, that okay. But
It was 7-9.
I was gonna say they don't have Marshawn Lynch. They do, in pretty much in Zeke. But
they go.
you
away
got
from them
13 people trying to tackle Zeke before he even take 2 steps to get the handoff, and Zeke just fell off. I don't like the Cowboys, but I watch the games and I'm like, okay, it's kind of hard to beat Zeke if before I make my hands with the cuff,
Somebody.
I'm already getting hit from this side. I barely got the handoff, and I got to drag them for a half a yard so I won't lose yard.
And then in the games when Zeke does produce early, they've been going away from him.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm sitting there on that Thanksgiving Thursday. When I walked into the room, we were watching the game in there, and Zeke had 7 carries for 54 yards. First quarter, 7. That's not bad to me because it's 54
great.
yards.
That's 8
That's
yards.
halfway, right? So that's
That's
halfway
amazing.
to 100.
Yeah.
From that point on, I didn't see the boy get the ball for at least almost the whole second quarter. And then when I kept yelling, give him the ball, every time they gave him the ball, something good happened on that play, and then you come right off of that on the play action and complete a pass, and then that would be it.
It seemed like it's so easy. It's so simple.
Right.
It's like, but these coaches, man, I don't know what they be doing.
Everybody trying to find the new innovative offensive quarterback. Everybody want to be the new Sean McVay, so they want the quarterback to get all the shine. And like Thursday, Zeke in the first half, Zeke with 13 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. That's almost 6 yards a pop.
Right.
What are y'all doing? Man, I know they were down 24-7, but you still can run the ball some.
Not at that point. They were only down by 7 or 10 at that point.
So it was 7. It was 17-7.
Seven. So that's a 10-point game, 2-score game. You cannot panic and just start throwing the ball all over the place. You got to go through your running back, and he's gonna open up the passing window. But you know, that's Dallas for
Dak
you.
missed a couple, and then a couple times, man, you could have threw to the check down and got some yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching you back, you know, whether it was him. And then one time, Zeke come out the backfield, and I don't know if the ball slipped out his hand, but Zeke if you see him, he ran his route and ran straight on out of bounds. Like, bro, who you throwing the ball to, man? when you do decide to check down to me, you threw it at my feet. And you didn't, and I'm running. So you know what I'm saying? Throw the ball where I can catch it and go. You threw it at if you watch one of them plays, he come out the backfield and ran straight. He was just like ran straight out of it.
But you know what's tripping me out right now? Dak, him and Kirk Cousins are reminding me of each other right now. They playing bad in big games. Then all of a sudden, when it's garbage time, their numbers look better.
Yes, sir. Zeke, Dak is number 1 in passing yards right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those somebody call them empty stats, zero calorie stats.
The number 1 offense.
Yeah.
That's very
misleading.
misleading, though.
It's misleading.
Right. Everybody else is in the knockout drag, so their numbers are small, and Dallas be getting beat, and then the team pull back, and he come in and third and fourth, and just start lighting them up. and run those numbers up.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting y'all making me because that is my team, man.
Both,
You know,
all right, y'all both got the Browns. Sunday. Who we got next?
all right, the next game we got the Chargers going down to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. The Chargers are favored by 3.5 points.
Man, much as I want to try and take the Chargers hard, I don't trust Phillip Rivers. I trust Austin Eckler and I trust Melvin Gordon, but I can't trust Phillip Rivers because he just been turning a turnover machine. And I don't think the Chargers can really stop Leonard Fournette.
Are we seeing it happen to him?
Yeah, it's time.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
It's time to turn the corner.
Yeah, it's time, man.
So
It
Phillip,
was bad.
now let me ask you this: Phillip Rivers couldn't end up going to a team like Minnesota, and to say for instance you swap Kirk Cousins and Phillip Rivers, you don't think Minnesota is much better than what they are?
I can see that because they got a good offensive line. With somebody like Phillip Rivers, he'll statue. He needs all the help.
Man, and you can let him sit back there and Marino that thing. If he got to take one step to the right or the left, you're in trouble because he ain't gonna get there. He's gonna get there as slow as he can.
And his offensive coordinators been terrible lately too. Like they been getting fired every year.
Yeah.
They be holding on to running backs that I don't think can run that good to me either, man.
You don't believe in Melvin Gordon?
No, bro. When even coming out of Wisconsin, I was like, I like him, but he's the second back. Say if I would give Zeke a breather with Melvin Gordon, then that works to me. Not saying that he is just terrible. Like I don't see him having enough to just be that dude. That's why he hasn't been able to do it, and he's always featured. Like you don't really. We give him some props. Everybody gonna have some games because you're gonna end up playing some of these other teams. But I haven't seen him be or become or do for Phillip Rivers what some of these guys have been able to do for their quarterback. And
so, do you think he deserves a big contract? You think they're gonna
He
pay him?
no.
He's
If what's out there, if everybody else is under contract. Now, when we start talking about guys and contracts, it's a little different because if the market is out there and he is at the top of that market, then yes, he's deserving of it because then when I go to just raw numbers and stuff, like the man deserve it.
Yeah.
But if I'm saying does he deserve it from the standpoint of
What you
is
see
he
on
that
film?
dude? Like no, I don't think he is.
I think what makes it easier for them, they got Austin Eckler. That makes it a lot easier because he do the same thing that Melvin Gordon does. So when you got somebody like this,
Well, how is that?
How is it?
Yeah.
Man,
What other team do you say that the backup running back is doing the same thing the feature running back does?
Atlanta a couple years ago when they had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman, it was but they eventually let Tevin Coleman go because they wanted to feature Devontae Freeman more.
I kind of disagree with that statement though. I don't really think they do the same thing because when Austin Eckler really don't get carries like that. They use Austin Eckler strict. He's a wide receiver basically.
Right.
You know, he get all his numbers in the receiving game, and when they do give him the ball in the running game, he's hit or miss. You know, and but with the question about Melvin Gordon's contract, he's not making a good case this year for him getting he's not making a good case at all. But if you look at his overall numbers for how he's like number 5 and all this and this, so it's like he's gonna get his money.
The tops on the market, and everybody else under contract who would be a better grab or a better get. So he may get it from his team just by default.
Who we gonna replace if we don't give him the money? Who we gonna replace him with? That's what they gonna
I think the top two running backs will be on the market next year with Melvin Gordon and Leonard Fournette. Because
so what you doing with that? By default,
I would rather have by default you gotta get him because you're not gonna be able to get Leonard Fournette.
Right. So he'll get some money from the Chargers because of that, but I don't know. Shout out to my guy John watching, man. He always support us, as well as Sharita right there with her new book, One Wing. Go out there if you check out that book, man. That's something for the ladies. Nice book, nice story, nice. But I just want you to go read it. Read the book if you can. That's One Wing. That's Sharita Williams.
Where can we get the book from?
You can go on her Facebook. You can order from her Facebook page. It's Sharita Williams or WMS Sharita, but it'll come up Sharita Williams.
Okay.
And you can go on there, and from there she has the links on the other pages on how to get it. It's a nice book, man, a nice story.
Okay.
It's a story of, if you have I'm one of those, say if you got a small daughter in the society we coming up in, the story of triumph. You don't have to be the WNBA to be this. You don't have to be a video vixen. She shows you can come from struggles and you can become an entrepreneur. You can defy the odds and end up married and all of this stuff, man. So it's a real feel good story, a story of just perseverance and persistence, and that ended up being owning a business. I'm doing the things that I'm starting to do, and I didn't have to compromise myself in ways that some people may think that you have to compromise yourself if you were female coming up. So I go out there, and it was all without a mother. She lost a mother, so without that foundation. So that book is one wing. Go out there, man, and check that book out.
Check that out, most definitely. That's a good motivational, uplifting story. So I like it.
Also, Oliver Dillard is checking you out, man. Shout out to him, bro.
Appreciate it.
Who we got next?
Oh, well, I forgot to say, I'm picking the Jaguars as well. I forgot to say that. But the next matchup, we got the Steelers going down to Arizona to play the Cardinals. The Steelers are favored by 2 on the road.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I'm gonna roll with Kyler Murray. I think he'll play. He's gonna come back. He's gonna bounce back game. They at home. You're gonna get some young quarterback in Devin Hodges. You know he can go up and down. You know they missing Juju and they missing James Conner. So we really don't know how the Steelers offense is gonna be. We know how their defense can be, but I think Kyler Murray can present some problem with his athleticism, with his speed. You know he can throw the ball down the field, and I really think the Cardinals. I'm picking them mainly because they at home. I think their offense can get the Steelers behind. They can make enough plays to win.
Well, so far, we haven't had a disagreement. Up to this point, we've been picking the same guys, but I finally disagree with you. Even though the Steelers missing Juju, they're missing Connor, but I tell you what, they got an advantage at defense and coaching. Yeah. Mike Tomlin, he getting the job done, man. I think he's gonna go down there and beat them boys.
He coach of the year right now.
I think he should be too.
There's no way he's not coach of the year. You know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get the job done.
So you pick Cardinals?
I pick
you
Cardinals.
want Kyler Murray?
Yeah,
I like Kyler Murray,
I do too. Man, listen, but I also think the Steelers' defense is better than what people think.
No, they got
great.
TJ Watt is good.
And he's not a really big dude, nor do I think he's as fast and elusive, and the whole overall offense isn't like the Ravens. I don't think he can come in there and do these guys like that. Not this year.
Not this. No.
I think that they're gonna end up putting some things around him, and he could be similar. I think he can throw. Now he can throw it better, and that's gonna help him move in. But I'm a Courtney, man. I believe the Steelers will go down there and get it done.
Yeah, me too, man. That defense, when they got Minkah Fitzpatrick, another complete flip. It's like if you look before they had Fitzpatrick and after, it's like they've been one of the top teams, man.
Because you would ask yourself, what I ended up doing was like, look, man, these guys don't have nobody. They have no everybody going down. Like, how are they able to do it?
Right.
Coaching and defense. Sometimes one player can come and one player will help sometimes, and that's what I see. And then that's how they've been staying afloat.
I think he got like 6 interceptions with the Steelers.
Yeah.
Right.
And lately they have been playing against a lot of really good quarterbacks, you know.
Yeah.
So we really don't know how they're gonna play with them because they've been playing against a lot of quarterbacks not mobile.
Right.
So Kyler